It started with silence. Not the kind that comforts. The kind that stings. Hospital walls are already too quiet, but this silence was loud, screaming reminders that no one had walked through that door. No phone calls. No flowers. No, we're on the way. I lay in that stiff hospital bed with wires in my arms, machines beeping in rhythm, and not a single visitor from the family I gave everything to. They said they loved me. They said, asterisk, take care of yourself. We'll always be there. Asterisk, but when it came down to it, a simple infection turned serious. I was admitted, and days passed alone. They thought I'd die quietly, that I'd be forgotten, tucked away in white sheets and 4 drips. But what they didn't know was this. I've been through worse. Decades ago, I was homeless, abandoned after a failed marriage, mocked on the street, ignored like I didn't exist. I used to sleep behind a bakery that tossed stale bread out the back. I worked odd jobs, cleaning, cooking, whatever it took until I found my footing. And when I did, I didn't just survive. I thrived. Real estate, stocks, silent investments. Over time, I built a fortune quietly. No bragging. No flashy spending. Just careful moves, disciplined growth, and layers of protection. Not even my children or grandchildren knew the full extent. They thought I was just doing okay. That was my first mistake. Because when people think you have nothing to offer, they show their true faces. And in my darkest hour, lying in that hospital bed, their faces never showed up. So I made a decision. The day I was discharged, I didn't call to tell them. I didn't send a message. I went straight to my inheritance attorney. The receptionist looked surprised when I walked in alone. No walker, no nurse, just a slow but steady stride and fire in my eyes. I want to change everything, I said. And I did. Every name removed. Every clause rewritten. Every trust adjusted. Instead of passing down my wealth to those who saw me as a burden, I redirected it to those who had shown compassion when it wasn't required. A kind nurse who sat with me past her shift, a janitor who prayed silently for me while mopping the hallway, and the charity that once fed me when I had nothing. I created a scholarship fund in their names. And my family? They got one thing, a letter. Not an angry one. Not bitter. Just honest. I waited. I watched. And I listened to your silence. You taught me everything I needed to know about value. So I gave mine to those who remembered mine. It didn't take long for them to find out. First came the phone calls. I didn't answer. Then came the home visits, desperate knocks, teary apologies, guilt-ridden explanations. I sat quietly behind the curtain and didn't open the door. They weren't looking for me. They were looking for what they thought was theirs. But here's what no one expected. I wasn't done yet. Months later, I donated my entire story to a documentary project highlighting elder neglect and hidden wealth. They turned it into a small but powerful series called Asterisk, The Ones You Forgot. Asterisk, it went viral. Suddenly, I was no longer invisible. I was the lesson everyone else didn't want to learn too late. People recognized me at the park. They'd sit beside me and say, asterisk, thank you for doing what we were too afraid to do. Asterisk. But what mattered most wasn't the recognition. It was the peace. I no longer had to wonder asterisk, what if? Asterisk, no more pretending. No more forcing smiles for people who saw me as a will, not a woman. I had given everything, my love, my patience, my trust. They left me in a hospital bed without a second thought. So I left them out of the future. And now? Now I walk with my head high, knowing that when the time comes, my legacy will rest in hands that understand its weight. Not because of blood, but because of loyalty.